So another coin grading video where this time I'm going to look at line and crown reverses on shillings, and I'll go through my Whitman folders as well. I've got a few Whitman folders, 1902 to 1936. So do I have a 1905? That's the key date. 37 to 51. So that will include all the line and crown reverses. But I've got a couple of bonus ones as well. I've got the 53 onwards, Elizabeth II shillings, and also some bonus ones from Victoria. So let's kick off then with starting with Edward VII ones. There you can see a very worn coin, and I'd grade this poor for the fact that you can't read all of the legend around the outside of the coin. All the stones on the crown are also worn away, no detail at all on the lion's face, so I'll go poor for that. That's a 1904 shilling. This one, 1909, it's a bit better, isn't it? You can read all of the legend, all the edges are just starting to creep through to the legend from the edge. You can just about see the stones on the crown and starting to just see the eyes of the lion. So I think this is actually better than fair. I'll put this one as almost fine. So now I think I'm up to fine grade, and we have the 1905. So this is the rarest coin of this set. I'll grade this fine. All the stones now are quite clear on the crown. Not much detail on the lion's face, but you can just see the eyes and the mouth there. And the edge is pretty distinct as well, away from the legend on the outside. So this one's fine. So moving on up in grades, this line and crown reverse for Edward VII continued under George V, so this is the George V one. I think that continued all the way up to 1927. Again, just an upgrade in general detail from the last coin. Still can't really see the nose of the lion on this coin. Just about starting to see perhaps some more detail on the hairs, on the tail. But you can see the tops of all the higher points of all the coin have got some quite obvious wear to them. So I think this one's very fine. Do you agree with me? Am I getting these right? Let me know in the comments. This is the highest grade one I've got. If I can get that into focus a little bit better. See now much more detail. It's not obvious now. The highest points of the coin, I think there is some tiny wear there, but it's not really obvious. Much more detail in the mane, the face, you can see the nose. And I would grade this one perhaps somewhere in between extremely fine and around uncirculated. I think just again on the tail, I'm not seeing those hairlines very much, so I can't give it around uncirculated in my view. There was another design, or two more designs of the line and crown reverse under George V. So this is the design that ran from 1927 up to 1936. Similar comments to the other design in that the lion's face doesn't have a huge amount of detail, but you can just see the mouth and the eyes there. all the stones are there on the crown, but you can see quite a lot of wear still on there. I think this one is fine. Moving up to very fine. Face is still rather flat, but you're starting to see more detail on the tail, especially with those little hairlines on that tail. Move it up again. What I tend to do on the higher grade coins of this type is focus on the face and the orb. So the orb is just below the cross on the crown. More details, but the orb's quite worn. Other than that, I can't really fault it much. Also the stones on the crown, the very tops of those two diamond shaped stones have a little bit of wear at the very tops. Extremely fine. Now we'll move up to round and circulated coin. More detail on that orb now. You can see the cross on the orb in particular. That's a good quick way of looking. See if your coins are round and circulated or uncirculated. Lion's face as well, a lot more detail. This is the Scottish design for George VI. Read this very fine. A little bit wear starting to show on the fingers. Not that the lions have fingers, but where it holds the sword. And also the line, there should be a line in the centre of that sword that goes almost to the end, and that's quite worn away on this coin. So for that reason I'll give it very fine. So when I get to the higher grade coins, I focus on that line in that sword, and I also look at the thistle, which is, as you look at it, the right hand side of the crown. So the detail on that thistle, does that show some wear, and is that a very good, clear, strong line on the sword to the end? So it's getting very close to around and circulated, but I just think I'll give it extremely fine because that thistle, I can see some wear on the high points. And then lastly, this 1945 one. Really struggling to find any faults with this coin. So I'll probably, to be on the safe side, put it round and circulated. Reasonably easy to get these coins in high grade because they were 50% silver up until 1946. So the 1945-46 ones would not have been circulated much if people held them back when the copper nickel ones came out. So that's the grading. As I said earlier, if you disagree with anything, please let me know. If there's anything I've missed, let me know. What I'll do next is I'll run through the Whitman folders, but I won't bother valuing every single one because it'll get quite boring, particularly on the Elizabeth II. But I do have a complete Whitman set of Elizabeth II, and you can see that the design changed with the 3 lines English version and the rampant line for Scotland. You should be able to get these quite easily in high grade, and none of them have much value. I think maybe There's a couple of lower mintages. You can see there, 1959, only a million on the Scottish variety. One to look out for. And also I've included the 1970 proofs, so they would have some value of a few pounds, but again, they're all copper nickel coins and not worth a great deal, so it's a good starter folder to start collecting if you want to start somewhere. And I'll play some music and do the valuations on the rest of my shillings in the Whitman folders. Thanks for watching.